To our Vitality Chat. We're very honored to have this guest with us today. He's in the chiropractic realm. He needs very little introduction. He's been in the profession for over 40 years. We've known him when he was as a student and undergraduate. His last 8 years of service have been as Life University's president, Life West University's president, and we're really honored to have him here with us today.
And I met Ron in chiropractic school, as Nancy said, and he's one of the most dynamic speakers I have ever really met. You can go out to a restaurant, Ron, and by the time you leave, you have 4 new patients. I mean, his dedication to chiropractic, his principle, his service-driven attitude is really second to none in the chiropractic profession. It's an honor to know him. It's an honor to watch his life unfold and grow. And I know that life in itself, because of his visionary leadership, has expanded its global outreach and well-read outreach. And there's very few people who could have done what he's done over the last 8 years. And I just really appreciate him taking his time to spend a little time with us and to help our students kind of see a bigger vision of chiropractic.
So Ron, can we just start with maybe a little brief history of your experience with chiropractic and how you got in it and all of that?
Yeah. I think like all of us, chiropractic found me. Right. Like I didn't find chiropractic, as much as my ego would want to say that. I had just gotten back from playing basketball in Europe. I was playing in Europe and finished the season and decided I was just going to go rest. I got signed for another season. This was in France. I got signed for another season. So I go to Israel, to go hang out on a kibbutz. I want to go down to the desert and just relax for like 4 months, 5 months, let my body heal after a season. And I ended up playing for a team in Israel. It was a stupid move, but I ended up doing it and I got hurt. And they ripped my ankle up. I needed to get surgery. There was a war going on. I couldn't get it there. I ended up coming back to the States about 2 months later. And I don't know how it happened, guys, but a buddy of mine from high school, there's no cell phones. Like no one, I was home for less than 48 hours on my mom's couch, because true, our bedrooms are like turned into storage when we left, whatever, And
that one.
You know that. And a buddy calls me up, my buddy's older brother, who I used to hang out with, a little bit, and says, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm just on my mom's couch waiting to go see some orthopedic surgeons." He said, "Can you come over? Can I come over?" I go, "Yeah, come on over." Came over, and he was in the second class at Life Chiropractic College in Marietta, Georgia. And he starts telling me the chiropractic story.
Amazing.
Talking about, it's, but not just about getting sick people well, it's about optimal potential, all the stuff that we learned when we were in school. And it was like, oh my God. And meanwhile, I was thinking I was going to be a social worker or something because I just love people, and I stopped eating meat when I was like 13 years old, not because I didn't want to kill animals. I don't even know why. I stopped taking drugs when I was like 14. I don't know why. There was no reason. There was no educated reason. And I just said, and here's the kicker, guys. I've been seeing a chiropractor since I was like 13. He never once told me. I love going. And I got better. I had an injury. I got better.
Right.
He dismissed me.
Right.
And I went home. I said to my mom, "Can I keep going? Because I just feel so good. I felt different, and not about my injury." And she goes, yeah. So I went once a weweek for all the way through, like,
Wow,
middle school and high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never told me the story. Never told me about, but loved the guy, just adjusted me. His name was Dr. Host. And and so it was when Mark Schechter came over to tell me the story about chiropractic, this is it. And I went to the library.
Amazing.
One book on chiropractic, small little book.
Yep.
It had all these schools. I picked a school. He never told me where to go. I picked a school. It happened to be in Oregon because Bill Walton was winning championships back then. And
there you go.
Yeah, and that's how I went. And then I ended up, leaving because it just didn't resonate with what my vision was. And I ended up down at Life. Yeah.
Awesome.
Don't you find it amazing how the internal shift comes through chiropractic? Like you talk about it in patients too, they start getting adjusted, and no matter what you say to them, and you say the same thing to different patients, and some people the light just turns on. Like you said, it finds you. I had the kind of similar experience with a car. We just went. My friend said, "You got to go see this chiropractor," and 5 of us used to pile in a car and go see this guy, and you take us all in one room and adjust us all. And it was like 3 out of the 5 of us are still under care. Which is great. He hardly said anything. He just put these little VHS videos on with stick figures talking about that's and we'd sit there watching those.
But I had a very similar experience. My father was under chiropractic care, and I would ask to go see the chiropractor, and he was like an ex-Marine, never said a word to any of us. I'd go in there, and all I knew is I felt better. Like I just, because I can think better, I feel better, and I couldn't express it because he didn't give me a language to express it. And it wasn't until I was in college and met, Reggie Gold and Joe Felicia, and I was like, oh, that's what was happening. But I didn't have the words, I just had the experience. So connecting it to the words and the purpose behind it led me to go to chiropractic school. So I had a very similar journey, had the experience, but not the language to understand.
It's that right time, I
Exactly.
mean, if I wasn't on my mom's couch and I was at a party, and I heard him tell the story, it might not have hit me. And that's why it's universally, it's all universal. It's like it was set up. It was perfect time, that perfect adjustment, at the perfect place, at the perfect time and perfect setting, and boom, just the light goes out. It was beautiful.
So, Ron, you have worn many, many hats in chiropractic, and so, for our listeners, tell us a few of the most rewarding experiences you had, whether it be as a practitioner or as a teacher or as a leader or a speaker. I mean, I don't even know where to begin. Your resume is so long and vast.
Yeah, I'll tell you, all those hats, like they wore my hair off my head.
Exactly, I noticed.
I was going to say that, but Nan seems to be really nice and going out there. They don't say anything. All right, I'll just hear it.
I want it back, Marty. Give me my hair.
Too late.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like all of it, Nancy, all of it. I mean, I love practicing. I practiced for 36 years. I love being over a table. I love taking care of people. And, in our practice in San Diego, well, we all were in Boston, in the Boston area together. And those were great days. I mean, think about that. We started that chiropractic philosophy group, right? Because all the life people who came up, right? Yourselves and Roberta and Patty, and all these people. It was like, and then look and see where we are now.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, it is pretty amazing.
But do you have one little personal note that you'd like to share that kind of that inspiring story, whether it be in practice or lecturing or any story that comes to mind?
Yeah, I'll tell you one. It's and I tell this to the students when I was, when I was at the college. I'm only a month out, right? But when I was at the college, I taught a class and taught 2 classes in the first quarter, not courses, but classes. Mm-hmm. And so I had 2 hours with them, and one of them I tell them a story. It was about Muhammad Ali. So we were in Atlanta, Georgia, and graduated and just celebrating myself, and I can't even tell you who was there, but Lori Teitelbaum was there.
Okay.
And you remember Lori lives there.
Lori Gentile, yeah.
Yep. And we're at Nikolai's roof at the top of the Hilton Hotel downtown. It's spun around like the space kind of thing.
The 8th wonder of the world.
Yeah, exactly. And we're having dinner, and the guy playing the piano there was a life student, Mitch Purdy. He might have been in your class, I don't know, or maybe Mitch was in mine, and it was his younger brother. Right. And he came up to us because he knew us. He said, "Don't get the dessert." And I was like, "Don't get the dessert. It's my favorite part of the meal." That's why. He goes, "Don't." He goes, "They're roasting Muhammad Ali downstairs. There's empty seats. Just go down there. You can get dessert, coffee." Okay, good. So we go downstairs, right? And like it's chiropractors, we own the world, right? Like who's going to stop us? We walk in, and there's a big ballroom, and we walk in, and we sit at the very last table, right by the door, and we have dessert. There's 4 to 6 of us, and there's probably about 8 desserts around the table. So we each had 2. I might have had 3, but I won't admit that. And then we heard a couple people roast Ali, and then he gets up and speaks. So we heard the tail end, right? And they were doing this fundraiser because at that time, if you remember, you were in Atlanta at the time, 13 Black children had been killed in the Black community, and they didn't find the killer, and they thought it was a serial killer. Remember that?
Yep.
So that was in 1980 to 81, right? And during that time period. So Ali gets up and he says he didn't talk long. Sounded terrible, like just terrible. He got up and he basically said, "Look, tomorrow at City Hall, I'm going to do something that's going to bring in the killer. Thank you for being here, yada, yada, yada." And then that's what he said. And that was it. Mic drop, walks across, his whole entourage follows him. He's walking on the dance floor, going to the exit where we are sitting.
Right.
And I have to tell you, this was not a planned, thought out move. It was not designed in any way. I got up
Of course you
Not
did.
surprised.
And I walked across the dance floor, walked around the table to the dance floor, and I caught him halfway. And I said, Mr. Ali, you don't sound too good. He goes, I don't feel too good. I said, well, I'm a chiropractor. I'd love to help you. And meanwhile, we're walking slowly
Yeah.
back to the door. And he said, what are you going to do? Crack my back? And I said, no, sir. I'm going to check your spine for vertebral subluxations. If you have nerve interference, we're going to correct it. We're going to allow your body to heal itself. And then he stops, like literally stops.
Oh.
And he goes, when do you want to do this?
Wow.
Wow.
And I said, what am I going to say? How about Tuesday in my office?
Yeah.
I said, right now. He goes, where? I go, do it right here. He goes, how about tomorrow morning at 9:00? I go, tomorrow morning at 9:00, I'm free. Absolutely. I can make it. He goes, room 2021. I'm making that part up. I don't remember the room. He was at Hilton, right?
Yeah.
And I said, okay, good. And so I walk away and he goes, Doc. And I turn around and goes, that's 2021. I go, I'll be there. So the next morning, Lori and I go there. I take my portable table, which I still have, and he signed the bottom of it.
Wow.
And we go there. And I can remember this so distinctly. He was in a suite. Both doors were open. Kids are running all over. Not his. The same one on the floor taking candies. It was it was beautiful. It was just it was very life oriented. And Lori brought the Leonard Nielsen. Remember that? Remember the Life magazine? Of it. Yeah. The birth one.
Wow.
Yeah.
And she brought it, and we're talking about chiropractic, and she's sitting on the couch showing them the sperm and the egg and how life takes place. It was crazy. So, anyways, I get to adjust him, and before I adjust him, I go, "What's going on?" He goes, "I don't know." He goes, I feel like I got the ocean in my head. He goes, "They're giving me these horse tranquilizers. I can't breathe. I can't feel terrible." I go, "Well, let's check you." So I checked his spine. I flipped him over. Checked his full spine, and flipped him over. It got to his cervicals. And I adjusted him, and every once in a while you hit like a grand slam, right? You don't even feel it come off the bat, right? His eyes just lit up, and he gets up and just starts draining, and he goes, "That's the first time I've been able to breathe in 3 weeks, through his nose." And I just said, "Well, your power's turned on, that kind of thing." And he said, "Can you come back tomorrow?" And I go, "Of course, 2021, right? I'll be there, 9:00."
Yeah.
But before I adjusted him, here was the deal. I said to him, we were there last night, obviously. What are you going to say today at City Hall at noon? And he goes, there's someone in the black, nothing happens in the black community where someone doesn't know something. And that's the same thing in the Italian community, same thing in the Jewish community.
All of those communities, right? All the kind of ghetto communities, they all know each other.
Yeah, they do something. He goes, I'm going to offer $25,000. Remember, back then you could buy a house in Atlanta for $25,000 to anyone who gives us information that will lead to the killer. That they were raising money the night before. And I went, wow. So we went home, just left, and we listened to the radio because there was no internet, So again, at noon, we're huddled around the radio listening, and he gets up and says the same thing. Somebody knows what's going on, and yada yada yada. And he offers $250,000.
Wow.
That's
amazing.
Like someone say $2.5 million, right?
$2.5 million now, yeah, easily.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So, anyways, it was just nuts, and there was all a buzz about it. So we end up going back the next day, right at 9:00. And so the first thing I did when I saw him was say to him, I got a question for you. Yesterday, before we checked you, you said you were going to offer $25,000, and around the radio, what we heard was $250,000. I said, what happened? And he looks at me, and he smiles, and he says, Doc, that was a $225,000 adjustment you gave me.
Wow. What a great story.
Yeah. Within 3 weeks, they caught the killer, Richard Brown or something like that. They caught the killer, and and it all stopped. And it just goes to show you that, you never know how powerful something you may say, think, or do today.
I never knew that story. That's amazing.
I haven't heard that story, but I'm not surprised by that story.
Really?
I mean, like I'm thinking about, you did start your chiropractic practice up here in Massachusetts when we were starting ours, and I can remember going out to dinner with you at night. I mean, it was you
Bel
were
Cantos.
yeah, Bel Cantos, and you always were telling the story to whoever would listen, or maybe even wasn't listening. So you've planted so many amazing seeds, and I'm sure they've germinated in ways that you probably have no idea. So that's an amazing.
I mean, even for personally, I mean, you remember my personal aid lecture? You were there, and there was one other guy. You jumped up and said, "I'm going to sign up right away." The guy booked.
Where do I sign up?
Yeah.
Looking for the line behind me.
Yeah.
And the other guy just bolted.
Yeah, this is great stories, great spirit. I mean, it's just like we're so grateful for all that you've done for our profession, the leadership that you have shown.
Can you talk a little bit just to the people? So we have a lot of people. I mean, we've been working with kids that have just graduated school. I mean, we had people last summer, kids who graduated school and people who've been in practice 30 years. And you speak a little bit to what has kept you motivated in the profession, like the long haul. What is it that drives you? Something like we know it's something bigger than yourself, and we know that. But what is it? What that drives you that keeps you anchored into our profession?
Yeah, like in the game, it's like when I tasted chiropractic, so to speak, metaphorically, and really got what it is, freeing the mental impulse, allowing myself and others to experience what 100% life is like, that's what turns me on every single day. Come on, you guys watch movies?
Yeah.
Watch Netflix. What do you go? Oh, that's so chiropractic, right? In everything, right? We see chiropractic.
Yeah, we do. Right, we do.
Yeah, it's like what's there, and so I think that's what keeps me going, and that's what turns me on. It's like I don't care who it is, I don't care where they are. I mean, if I think our biggest job as chiropractors is to let people know how powerful they are inside of themselves, right?
Yeah.
Right. We can adjust somebody.
Yeah.
And never let them even know that, and they can have a great experience, and and they might continue, they might not, whatever. But I would want to make sure that they understood that, right? And if they understand that, not everyone's going to get it, like you said, Marty, beginning earlier, but if they get it, oh my gosh, I mean, we're changing their lives and the lives of their families, right? And the people that they touch. And so how can I, for me, my question is to myself, how can I not be excited about that every freaking day, And that's what keeps me going. Like, we've got a job to do. And let's face it, the three of us bought it hook, line, and sinker when we heard Sid and Reggie. I mean, we bought it, we drank the Kool-Aid.
We drank the Kool-Aid to our kids, we shot it up and then we injected it. Yeah. Right. We did.
Yeah.
We did. We walked around with it,
Yeah. Still do.
We still do.
Not a past tense.
Yeah.
It's what it is. And so when you get it, but I think the thing is it people tend to overcomplicate it, and I think when you distill it to its essence of what it is, it's very easy to understand, right? And there's an inherent recuperative power within the body that functions at 100% when given the optimal. It's always working 100%, but when given the optimal internal environment, and if we could just let people know that, and that's why the work you're doing is so phenomenal. It's like we can teach the science and we can teach the philosophy, and all of that's important, right? But you can be the greatest philosopher in the world if you can't deliver the goods.
That's what it is. Yeah, that's what's really important. I mean, that's why things like, places like Life West, and I know you're moving it forward. I know their new president, Dr. Kevorkian, is trying to move it forward.
What's his name? What's his name?
Kevorkian, I think it's Dr. Kevorkian.
It's okay.
Dr. Peter, call Dr. Peter.
But it's just, but being able to basically put your money where your mouth is, to be able to do what we say we do. Like you said,
to deliver the promise.
You could stand on a soapbox all you want and go, "Oh, this is great. Where can I get that?" And if they don't have a place that's the problem, is they need a place to get it. Yeah. So that is, what we've dedicated our lives to, is giving them the art. And I know that the schools, and especially now Life West is doing it, the schools have to start to make that shift. They have to make that paradigm shift.
Yeah. Well, that's been the light taken in. Doctor, I know we could speak, for a lot longer, but I just want to thank you for joining us. And most importantly, you're only 1 month into your retirement as president. I just can't wait to see what the next part of your journey is going to be. I'm excited about it because I know there's just no way that you're not going to be doing something amazing.
I know.
So
We call it rewirement,
exactly,
not retirement. Right?
exactly.
Retirement's going to be 6 feet under, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah,
No, I totally get that. But enjoy Montana, and well, hopefully maybe we'll get up there and visit you. But thanks so much for joining
Absolutely.
us. And thanks for joining us, and thanks for all that you've done and will continue to do for our
It was great
profession.
seeing you, Ron. It was awesome. And thanks, like I said, for sharing your passion, which I love. That's kind of my favorite things about you is just around you. I actually feel passionate. I feel
Yeah.
recharged again. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm going to go back. I'm not going to retire. I'm not going to rewire. But I think I might.
It's funny. We're always rewiring, though, aren't we? Like, look at
Always changing.
the where you're moving into, right? Now, you have already been there, but it's like, and you remember you guys used to go to like the DJarnet seminars and all that stuff, and it's like,
We used to drive to Omaha
Yeah,
from
of course,
Life to
of course.
take his seminars. Yeah, we used to do all that.
we've become those.
Yeah, yes,
Exactly.
we have become those.
Exactly. How did that happen?
I
But it
know.
did.
Okay.
Too quickly. I love you guys, and thank you for all you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for all you've done and for taking the time to be with us tonight. Awesome.